That's clearance. Have a great show.
Hello.
Hi. Another week, another episode. No, another month.
Another month.
Another episode.
I just mouthed into one.
Like, oh.
How are you since the last time paths crossed?
I think I mentioned this earlier, but I am absolutely knackered.
Right.
I did 2 ACE applications for this R&D strand and it's completely knackered me, but really excited to have sent them off yesterday. I'm really excited for it to be like in the ether so that even if nothing comes of it, the balls are rolling, which is exciting.
Are they the first Arts Council ones that you've done?
They are on my own. So I've applied for a full project grant a few years ago, but I wasn't the one who wrote it and I wasn't really involved that much. I kind of like approved things, but like it wasn't really just for me at all. So this has been an experience. And actually I've put off Arts Council. Like I've been terrified of applying to the Arts Council for a really long time. So it's been really refreshing and the people I've been doing it with have been amazing. So yeah, scary, but knackered, like absolutely knackered. And it's funny how often I've spoken to people and they're like, yeah, I'm doing an arts application. And being like, oh, that sounds horrendous. And now I'm like, yeah, it was. I'm so tired. I need to sleep.
Yeah, I've only ever done one. And about 3 weeks before they said no, I realised in the thing that I was applying for what I was applying, the project I was applying for had already evolved, and actually, even if they said yes, was probably going to be
vastly different.
Yeah, fundamentally, I think fundamentally
like
different.
Very different. Okay.
That I'd probably actually either need more money or the money would need to be used for slightly different things from the project that I originally applied for.
Yes.
Which is also quite, and it was totally okay.
Yeah.
And so when they said no, I was like, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, fine.
But also, when they said no, I was also totally okay with it because by doing that whole application, I had budgeted, I'd done all my spreadsheets and all loads of planning, lots of prior planning for my project anyway. Yeah. That I felt really good about the existence of my project, even if I didn't get the money.
I think that's it. It's a good process to have gone through because also there were things that I was then having to consider and think about that I hadn't massively gone into detail because I've just been like, I've got this idea and I think it'll engage these communities and I think this will be great. But it was really, it was nice to think about like timelines and budgets and all of those things.
So the biggest question I once got asked by my wife when I did my Arts Council funding, what will you do when the Arts Council say no?
Well,
that's not being cynical.
No, but that's the realism.
Or the better question, can the project still be done should the Arts Council say no?
I think it can still be done, but it would be in a completely different way. Because this one has been, so this R&D strand is like a new thing that has never been done and is about to close as well. And it's more like an R&D mixed with DYCP.
Yeah.
So the way you're applying for it it's a way that I've been thinking about, like expanding my skill set, expanding my practice in like very new ways. That's been really exciting to think about, like people I would work with. That probably wouldn't happen if I didn't get it. It would probably just be like, cool, let's like rent a space as and when I can scrape the money together and kind of work on it. And it would be a lot of unpaid work again, wouldn't it? But that's making art, isn't it? But yeah, so I think I do want to make them both happen, but it would be in a very different way. And I think that's the reality for a lot of projects, isn't it? Like you end up making it work if you really want to make it happen. Yeah. And I think one of the ideas I've been musing over for the past like 7 to 10 years. So it feels like this is the moment to make it happen, which is exciting. But what about you? How have you been?
Rock of Ages, mate.
Oh,
Rock of Ages.
So Andy's currently in rehearsals for Rock of Ages. Tell us more about Rock of Ages.
So for those that don't know, so I'm directing Rock of Ages at the moment, which goes up at the Redgrave Theatre in Bristol. 24th to 28th of March.
Get your tickets.
6 performances. Tickets available by either on Facebook via the Bayos website or Facebook, but also via the Redgrave Bristol website. 6 performances. But yeah, I've got over 30 in the cast. It is jukebox, what we call a jukebox musical. So for those who don't know it, what it's about, it's,
Go.
I laugh.
One
I
sentence.
laugh.
Go.
Set in about 1987, LA on the Sunset Strip. It's about the heavy metal scene on the Sunset Strip at the Bourbon Room, which is kind of like the Whiskey Go-Go, which is an actual place, although the Bourbon Room isn't, but it's a pastiche of the Whiskey Go-Go. And developers have come in to LA, and they want to raise the Sunset Strip to the ground and put on other bits of property, Foot Lockers,
Classic.
Arby's, and all this sort of stuff. But the people of the LA and of the heavy metal scene don't want that. No. Set against a sort of backdrop of various, you've got a young lad who's trying to make it in the heavy metal scene. You've got another young woman who has come from the deep south to make it on screen as an actress, and they come together, but then they don't, and they're sort of like mishmash of meet cutes and not. But then also, in order to try and save the strip, or at least try and save the Bourbon Room, the proprietors, Dennis Dupree and Lonnie, what they do is they get Stacey Jacks, who's like this big, massive personality and rocker. He's about to go solo from his band Arsenal, not the Gooners or the football team, and he's about to split from his band and go solo. But they get him to do one final gig at the place where it started it all, which was the Bourbon Room, and they convince him to do that so that they can try and raise money to stop the developers from putting the everything to the ground. So it's all about that.
And why should people come and see this version of Rock of Ages? Like, what is it that makes it interesting and special?
I think with this one, this is a show that I was. This is a show that I was born to direct. Because I should have been brought up in 1980s LA. I've been part of the heavy metal scene since I was about 16. So we're looking at about sort of 27 years that I've been part of this scene. There is very little I don't know about the community, about the music, especially the music. So when I talk about it being a jukebox musical, the musical actually has music of Def Leppard, of Bon Jovi, Whitesnake. It's called Rock of Ages from Def Leppard's Pyromania album. That's the song, one of the songs that's in that's on that album, and it's named after that Def Leppard song. And there's very little that I don't know about this scene. And I've put all of these references into this show. We're making the auditorium as much as we can like the Bourbon Room, so that when you walk in, like, it is like you feel it, you smell it. It's like as sticky as
it's a real authentic experience.
The LA, that like it's proper, like a proper heavy metal sort of like gig that you're going to.
Great.
So that as visceral as possible, and that's what we're trying to make with this particular one, and we want the reason, and also why now, and why, I guess I'm going to sort of add an extra question as well as to why now. The world is in a bit of a rubbish state, and I feel that I think we should allow ourselves a bit of time to be entertained and a bit of time to laugh and not forget, but try and remember ourselves for 2.5 hours. And this is one of those shows that gives you permission to do that. And it does. I'm not trying to get too profound, but it genuinely does. You can this show it's very funny. It's really silly. It does not take itself seriously at all. But there are many, many wonderful shows out there that have a message about stuff. And this has its thing. But what it does do is that it allows you for 2.5 hours, actually a little bit less, but for about 2.5 hours, to just laugh and a bit of a sing. If you do that, you'll recognise that there's some big tunes in there, which you may or may not recognise. And hopefully, even if you don't know the heavy metal songs and scene a whole lot, if you
it's still a musical, right?
Yeah,
so it's putting
musical.
all of that into like a musical
if you walk
way.
out and decide to Google or jump onto Spotify one song, I feel that's a job done. And I just want people to sort of like just to remember themselves for 2.5 hours that there is art and entertainment that we're allowed to just be entertained for 2.5 hours, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're trying to do. So
that's why we love theatre as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful.
So, and
I think you've sold that very well.
Cheers, thanks.
No worries.
So
It's big, like go get your tickets. It sounds like it's going to be really fun, and I think you're right. Like we need some escapism. And speaking of escapism, to segue into this episode,
definitely.
This week we are joined by Helen Comerford, who is an incredible young adult novelist, and with a background in theatre, stage management, like script writing as well, and we just had a really great chat. We've just finished chatting to her, and she has good. Such great, I mean, I say this for everyone, but like such good insights, and like she's so, I like how concise she is. She knows what she's a classic writer. She's got her words.
Erudite and succinct.
Amazing.
But also just wonderful energy. And I'm excited for everyone to hear it.
Yeah.
And see it.
Yeah. Well, enjoy. She's amazing. And that's it. Jump in. Enjoy.
See you on the other side. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. Our next guest is a stage manager, dramaturg, and published author. Her interest in love of stories was first formed with her experiences working at Shakespeare's Globe and with Emma Rice's Wise Children Theatre Company. She regularly runs writing workshops for young people and works with schools in encouraging pupils into writing. You may remember her from her children's book Trapped in School and the superhero novels The Love Interest and its sequel The Hero Complex. She was awarded second place in the YA Reader's Choice Diverse Book Award and nominated for the Carnegie Medal for writing in 2025. It's Helen Comerford! So sorry I stumbled right at the end there for some reason, folks.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, we'll keep
that was a lot of words. You did very well.
I stumbled.
Yeah, it's very good.
Stumbled over myself. Anyway, how are you?
Hi.
Let's make this about you. You all right?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. How are you?
Thanks for coming in. Thank you for coming from Cardiff as well. I appreciate that.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, trains all ran, which was
we love a good train day.
A bonus. Yeah.
Nice.
Sun was shining. It stopped raining in Wales. We've been living under a cloud for like a couple of months now.
It feels like it's been like that here as well. Like it's just been, everyone's just been like so miserable. And then it was sunny yesterday, and you felt everyone be like, it's time. Yeah, definitely. Have you got some nice walks around by where you live? Have you been?
Yeah, we are. So I'm just outside of Cardiff, and we are like right on the edge of the Brecon Beacons National Park, and Iberkenniog.
Wow.
Gorgeous, gorgeous.
Yeah, I like to call it the land of rainbows because it rains all the time, but also there are lots of rainbows. It's really pretty.
Is that why you moved there? Because of the rainbows?
Mostly for the rainbows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's amazing. That's so good.
We haven't done this in the last couple of episodes actually, but we sometimes like start with like an icebreaker.
Yay!
And I literally just thought of one actually because I would normally sort of think about it in advance, but like thinking about like because of your superhero novels, if you had a superpower to travel, like a traveling that aided in traveling, so you could get here from Cardiff to here using your superhero power, what would that power be for traveling?
Ooh.
Oh, that's really interesting because I would automatically go like teleportation, click your fingers, arrive.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I could be a bit more altruistic and have the power to make public transport run on time. and that would help
So for
everyone.
the benefit of all.
For the benefit of humanity.
Okay, yeah, that would be actually, if you
So,
could,
yeah,
that would be
that's
amazing.
that would be the superpower I choose.
Oh, but does it only run when you're on it?
Oh God! And then you
Because-
just have to be on public transport, like
Well, yeah, that would be your
all the
job.
time.
You would just
Yeah.
have to be around. But then also, it would only be wherever you are. So
yeah.
how? Yeah.
And would you also keep your true identity secret for fear of like being exploited by
And just
Oh.
like trapped on a train,
Yeah.
like, permanently, just chained up by Transport for Wales.
On the front of the train. Like,
Oh
oh my
It's
god.
on time though.
You'd be like, I suppose you'd be like Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2.
That's what I was
where he's
thinking.
like-
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. And I guess if you had to be trapped on one type of transport
Yeah.
to make your superpower work,
Yeah.
would it be trains or would you choose something else?
No, it would 100% be trains.
Okay, great.
Yeah, you can. I really like riding on the train. There's
Yeah.
the train when it runs on time from sort of Cardiff to Manchester. Goes
Ooh.
up the Welsh-English border, and it's just stunning. And they've got a little trolley. They come along. They're like, "Do you want a coffee and a cake?" They've got a deal.
That's really
It's normally well, depending on when you travel, it's pretty quiet. Get a seat, get a plug.
Oh,
Yeah, lovely.
that sounds dreamy. And do you get to do that much? Do you get to
Surprising amount.
Okay,
actually.
great.
Yeah,
Great. So you get to do the beautiful.
the pretty
Oh wow, that's
And
incredible.
amazingly, those
Awesome.
trains always run on time.
and amazing. They always run on time.
Why is that?
Oh my gosh. Shh.
Do you have? Is that? Would you say it's your favourite train? Do you have a favourite train? Or
Oh my god, that's a fun question.
this has gone down.
I love that
this
this
has gone
interview
down
has become
completely
about
wrong
trains,
things, but
like, yeah.
I'm genuinely like that's a genuine question. I'm like,
Yeah, I'd say so. I think the train from Cardiff to Bristol is very nice, but it's very expensive for Great Western Rail.
Absolutely.
Like, it's one of the most expensive trains in Europe, right?
Something like,
What?
I think I
Yeah.
found out that isn't the train from Bristol to Bath something like the most expensive ticket for the length
£13
of
for 10 minutes.
yeah,
yeah.
and it's like the most expensive ticket in the UK or something. It's
Really?
crazy.
Yeah, it's that lot. It's the Cardiff to London
Yeah.
line. which
GWR
is-
have got us by the
They really do. Yeah.
kahoonies.
so do you have a favourite train?
Sorry.
Great
Yeah.
train.
It is probably that
Oh.
coast. It's not coastal. It's
Up
The
border.
border.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds beautiful.
When I used to be a commuter, in London, I always had like my exact same spots.
yeah.
Like
Mm.
not only for like when I used to live in Colchester, and so when I used to travel from Colchester into London, but then also for the underground as well.
Mm.
At every regular underground station I used to go to, there was always the same spot that I knew exactly where to go
Yeah.
because I knew where the which doors would open, whether it be a single door or a double door, but also whether that particular carriage would be busy or quieter depending on the time of day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
used to love
guarantee
that.
you, every other single person on that tube as well was doing the same thing.
Yeah. I've had
So you
I've
must
had
have seen
I've
the
had
same
similar
people.
conversations with
Yeah.
people about this as well.
Here's an embarrassing question. Did you ever race? Coming out of the tube, did you ever I used to try and win tube stations. So you'd be the first person out of the tube, the first person out of the station.
Oh, yeah. That's
And then
fine.
like
no.
you've won the station. Like I've won a few stations
I
around
love that.
London.
So you just own most of London at this
I
point.
just own most of London, yeah.
Wow.
So I think the only game that I ever played involving tube stations was Circle Line Golf,
What's
which is
that?
which is where you have half a pint at every single
On the circle line.
on the circle
Oh my
line.
god.
God.
And apparently, I mean, for listeners who've ever played Circle Line Golf, you know about this particular marathon and that it's almost impossible to complete.
Oh, you
because
can
it's-
imagine. How
you
many
have to
stations
do-
are there?
Oh gosh, there's some.
So
too
Yeah,
many.
there's something
Yeah.
like I'm gonna say like 32, but I don't know if that's even that maybe around that. But you have to do like yeah, I think we only aim having half a pint, so you trick yourself into thinking.
Yeah, but that's what 16 pints.
But you end
Have I
up.
done the
I think
maths
we
right?
did.
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
did. I think we managed like 8 or 9
I
before
mean,
we all
that's-
sort of like
You went
really
that's
started to
enough.
feel it.
That's enough. We'll pause it there and we'll come back another day. It's
Anyway,
fine.
sorry. Yeah,
Anyway.
there we go.
Anyway, enough about trains.
This was great. I've
we talk
thoroughly enjoyed this beginning.
Should we talk about why you're here?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can talk about trains later. If
We
you
can
want.
absolutely
We can
look. If
circle
there are
back to
trains, yeah. If there are trains in your books, if there aren't, then there should be. You know, like
yeah.
let's just get that.
Well,
one
you do the
over.
writing on the train, which is
I do
why
the
we're
writing on
here,
the train.
and this is great that you're writing. Do you think do you do most of your writing on the train, or
Most of the writing at home with my small staffy dog next to me, who's generally snoring really loud. So yeah, actually, most everyone's like, "What's the most interesting place where you write?" Really, like my quiet desk at home is where I can get the most work done.
And how have you? Because as someone who struggles to write, how have you made that space somewhere? Is it like practice and discipline, or have you filled it with something? Like, how have you made that like your favorite place to write?
It's really tricky, actually, like writing at home, weirdly, because there's everything else is still there. Like you're like, oh, I should probably do the washing up. And there's a billion other things that you could be doing with your time. So I actually use music. I've got certain albums, like Black Sands by... Oh my gosh, I've forgotten. It'll come back. It'll come back to you. But the album is Black Sands, and once I put that on, my brain knows, okay, it's time to write.
I love
this.
That.
This is focus time now.
That's amazing. Is it quite? I don't know Black Sands at all. Is it lyric? Is it like lyrical?
No. It's just like electro-y, orchestra-y, like lovely.
That's great. I love that. So you've trained your brain into knowing it's work time.
It's work time. As soon as like the first track comes on. Yeah.
That is an amazing tip. I'm going to use that. That's amazing.
Bonobo?
Bonobo!
Oh, okay.
Bonobo.
Like, I'm
great.
Embarrassingly still on Spotify. I definitely need to move.
I know,
but,
it's the same. Keep being like, when I've got a second.
When I've got a second, I'm away. But like, I'm one of like Bonobo's top 0.003% listeners. Because I just constantly listen to it when I'm working.
But it sounds like a key. You have to like treat yourself to the CD and like a CD player, and then then you'll like own it, and it'll be Or go
to one of their gigs. But then as soon as they start playing anything from that album, I'll be like,
you're like, oh, I'm not ideas.
Oh no, sort of Pavlovian classical conditioning, isn't it? Yeah,
that's amazing. So I guess you've got your amazing writing space. Like, how did you end up writing in the young adult sphere? Like, where did that journey come from? Because your background is theatre.
Yeah.
Well, 10 years previous was theatre.
So I've been working in theatre for a long time, and sort of at uni I started in student theatre, which is always fun, just a bit of everything with all your friends, and tried to write plays, and actually got invited for a chat at Soho Theatre, because I think they still do, they're very supportive of like emerging playwrights, and a very nice lady called Helen as well sat me down, and she was like, so for a new playwright, you cannot have 20 main characters and like 30 different settings.
Why?
Yeah, right.
Budgets.
Budgets. So that was good. And so actually I kind of pivoted to novels where I can generally do whatever I want.
Great.
Yeah.
As long as I back it up. And probably around that time as well, I read The Hunger Games for the first time, and was like, I loved the style, I loved the urgency, I loved the plot, I loved the romance, and I was like, I could maybe do this. I think I could do this.
Yeah.
And kind of the like in YA, you don't spend loads and loads of time describing a setting, or there are some wonderful adult authors who will spend half a page describing a shoe.
Yes.
You can't do that.
I've just read Priory of the Orange Tree, and it is exactly that. It's incredible, but it is so different to the YA novels that I read. It's like, I completely agree.
Yeah. And young adult is like, you gotta grasp the attention, keep it, like hopefully do some really amazing, engaging, empowering things as well.
Yeah.
But, pace. And it's, I think it's my happy place in terms of writing.
Yeah. Sorry, my brain's just started thinking about all the amazing things. So I guess if you kind of ended up in YA, and like, it was the writing style that kind of put you there, but like, how do you engage with your audience? Like, what do you hope that they are taking away from their work? How do you connect with them? Like, how has that been developing that?
That's a really nice question. There's kind of a couple of layers to it. So when I write young adult, and if anyone wants a definition, young adult is, I don't know, 12 to 18.
Yeah, okay.
But lots of older readers read it as well. So when I write it, I'm thinking about young people today, but I'm also thinking a lot about 14-year-old Helen and what 14-year-old Helen needed when she was a teenager, which was to see a powerful young character with brown skin, not necessarily dealing with racism or having to like justify herself and her identity constantly.
Yeah,
which
being the only thing about
it being
her.
the only thing about her and the only thing about the story.
Yeah.
It was to see someone that looked like her doing amazing magical things.
Great.
And so that's kind of what I aim for. I aim for like empowering escapism, I call it. And in terms of engaging with the young audience now, I mostly go to schools. I run writing for wellbeing workshops for young people.
Great.
I've got some of them coming up in Cardiff, which I'm very excited about. And that's kind of it, because they're not really, I'm such an old lady, I'm on Instagram. So that's mostly grown-ups.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So it's mostly schools and live events where I get to meet younger readers, which is always really nice.
And you've never been tempted by TikTok?
TikTok terrifies me, honestly.
We thought about doing it for this when we first started, and it's just it's a behemoth.
I'm in my mid-40s. So.
I don't know if they'll even let me on at this point.
They will. They'll let you on. They'll be like,
I get eaten alive.
She seems cool. Leave that to the young folks. I'm sure they're talking about your books over there, which is exciting.
I hope so. Yeah.
And do you feel like you've connected with any, like you were saying about you at 14? Like, do you feel like you've seen those Helens when you're like doing these workshops?
Oh my gosh, definitely. I work with year 9 quite a lot, which is a really tricky like not talking to them. Talking to them's fine, but you can see that just being 13 is just horrible. Yeah. And you go around, you're like, would we all like to say our names and give me your feeling as a colour or something random? Yeah. And they're like, no, I don't want to talk.
It's too embarrassing.
Oh my God, everyone's looking at me. Yeah. Which is what I was like at 13.
Same.
Yeah. So I feel like I've met lots of young Helens.
Yeah. Wow. And do you feel like you've, like, what has there, I mean, obviously, like, people are obviously buying the book and enjoying it and all of those things, but like, have you had like direct feedback from them? What's been the response to those?
The best feedback I've had randomly, so I got this in a message from my cousin who was like, I went into Waterstones in Richmond, I think, and I asked for your book. And they were like, we did have a copy of that, but it was stolen.
Oh. So like, someone really needed it.
Really?
Yes.
So the people are getting my work.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That's great.
So I want to talk about love interests and hero complex, because I think because a few of my questions are sort of like linking into both of them, and obviously they're a core of your last few years as well.
Yeah.
I love the love interests. I think it's great.
Oh,
it's great. And it's funny, obviously written, as you just said, written sort of like as it's a YA novel, but mid-40s, 44-year-old man who's read it. And there are several things that sort of like are plucked out from it that really have sort of lived rent-free in my head, which I think I just want to talk about. But also there's some questions that we've got to sort of talk about. So I guess the first one, which sent me on an interesting thought process, was the first present way of. I've never experienced that I've never read that in a book before. So present tense, but as a third person present tense. Yeah, I've read before, but I haven't read the first person present tense.
Yeah.
So, what was the inspiration for that? I loved it, but it took me a few pages to go, oh right, I see where I'm going with this, and then get my head around it, and then I was into it as soon as after a few pages. But what was your inspiration behind that, I guess?
It's actually first person present tense is sort of the friend of the young adult writer. I think Hunger Games is written in first person present. And it is because it just grabs your reader and it puts them in the story with your protagonist. So they feel what they feel, they experience like the shocks as they feel them, as opposed to third person where it's more like your character is telling them about it. So like I felt. It's really fun to write, and you can get really close to your character, which is like a major thing for writers, especially writers for young people. It does make some things more difficult. So for the hero complex, I have this sort of big multi-hero battle, which was a bit of a nod to Infinity War.
Nice.
And that is really difficult in first person present, because all you've got is my main character Jenna and what she sees and what she feels and what she knows. And I went and I talked to an author who writes Warhammer novels, James.
Which who was it? Who did you?
James Brockton.
I know, but
Do you know James
I don't.
Brockton?
So I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry,
Right,
I've read his work, and I know.
Clever man. We were actually running workshops together up in Tynewydd, which is Literature Wales. It's sort of hub for writing. It's very cool. And I was like, James, I've got this massive battle. I really need it to happen. I really need it to be clear and exciting. And so he gave me some tips. He was kind of like, you need to establish it. You need to get your character up high somehow.
So you can see everything.
So she can see what's going on.
Yeah.
And then just like dive in and pick out moments. So that's sort of what I did. Like,
like zoom out and then
zoom out and zoom
amazing.
right in.
Oh, yeah, I see that. I see that now. Yeah, I can see how. Yeah, now that you've said that, I can see the.
It was really hard, but really fun.
And how did you? So that sounds like something you've never written before. So how was that process? Did you find it quite hard to like figure that out, or once you had that kind of language of out and then in, like, did it feel like it kind of clicked something? Had you already written quite a lot of it in terms of what you thought was going to be happening?
Yeah, I'd written, I think I had broad strokes, but like nothing really made sense. And then talking to James really helped. And I think I did a master's in writing for young people, which was great and sort of gave me a bit of a leg up from being a self-published person to being able to get an agent.
Yeah,
and like not all writers will need to pay a lot of money to go and do a master's. So I'll say that. Some people can, you could do shorter courses. The main thing actually the masters gave me was the ability and willingness to go and talk to other writers and look for advice and get feedback on my work and grow and like know that you're always learning.
In like a confidence kind
in a
of
confidence
way.
way,
Great.
and in a my art is valuable kind of way.
Great.
My practice is important. So I spent a lot of time talking to other writers about their work and them talking to me about my work and being able to just approach another writer and be like, I have this sticky problem. What do you think?
Great.
Like it's just exactly what you need.
Yeah, because so often I think a lot of people have said this, where you kind of are sat there going, oh, I need to be this artist by myself, and it's all very secretive and blah, blah, blah. And then actually everyone's just going, could I just say this out loud to you and we could just talk it through? And then I think everyone needs that. So I think the more that open space is given to everyone, it's just like a vital resource, right?
100%. And like learning to take feedback as well is key, I think. Like one of the big things we learned on the MA is that if someone points out a problem with your work and offers a solution, they're like, oh, it didn't make sense. Why doesn't she go for a swim in this chapter? You don't have to listen to their solution, but you do need to focus in on the fact that there's a problem. They've highlighted something that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So you can go and fix it now.
Yeah, the way you
Your
take
way.
Amazing. So good.
So another thing that I really loved was Jenna's, the way that sort of like, I love Jenna's sort of like witty whimsy. I think I find she's really funny, and that one of the opening scenes with, well, at least, I mean, all of it's the opening scene with her because it's done from her perspective, but I think it's right near the beginning of the first book, and I can't remember if she's in her friend's shop but the way that sort of like you write her with her interacting with her friends and the banter that they have with her friends, it reads, and I watch it in my own sort of mind's eye of how I read it, and I'm sort of like reading their dialogue and seeing it is almost like a movie, but it's like a comedy movie, or almost like a Gilmore Girls episode. And I just wonder sort of like I guess my question coming from this is that do you you write in a way of, could I see this on screen at some point?
Oh, yeah, I mean, 100%. I do remember writing bits of the love interest, and I was like, well, that would make a very good Netflix episode, wouldn't it? Just that bit there. Writers write because we love writing, first and foremost, and I wanted to make a good book. I would very much like someone to adapt it and turn it into a film or a TV show. But also, I think my dialogue is like that because I used to write plays. So people have kind of pointed out, and they're like, your dialogue is very strong for a prose writer. It's like, it's because I spent years and years trying to write plays, just writing dialogue.
Yeah. It comes across that way. Like, it really does. It's sort of like the way the sort of the banter between the characters does come across as though you could be watching it on screen or seeing it in a play, rather than just reading it off the page, but actually watching two people live, or even watching two people on the screen have that.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask, these are not questions that I'm so sorry, but they're just sort of like,
sometimes they just ping and you're like, you need to ask
the other thing is around the theme of the environment, which was that a decision you made when you first started writing the love interest, or did that come at a later point during the writing process?
So the link to the environment in the love interest came when I was deciding why people had superpowers. And this is something that different writers of superhero stories do in different ways. So the X-Men go for genetics, like humans have evolved superpowers. And then you've got people who are just really smart and really rich, like Iron Man and Batman. And then other people where they're just like, it's magic. It's just magic. We don't need to explain
That's the rule. Deal with it.
Deal with it. Yeah, like Doctor Strange. And so I did I kind of went down the X-Men route, and I thought it would be really interesting I didn't want to write a book about climate change or the climate crisis because we're living through it, and I try and write escapism. But I thought, what if my world is evolving and it's not just the humans who are sort of evolving superpowers, a bit like X-Men, it's also the animals who have evolved, and it's also the weather that's evolved. And so everything is just getting elevated. And so that's where the superpowers came from. And then that also shaped the world. So I've got this thing which I call the EV, which is the accelerated evolution of the Earth. And that is the setting of like the whole story.
I like that.
It's great. It's very cool. I like the fact that you've done a sort of an extraneous variable that's got them both helping and hindering.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Some of my favourite writers have this in their sort of things where they've got the thing that they're trying to do, or the MacGuffin they're trying to find or whatever, but then also having an extraneous variable that is completely out of their control.
Yeah.
That they have no control over, that is hindering their quest or their progress. That almost a Deus Ex Machina, but it's always been established and has always been there, that they've got to usually come up against at some point.
Yeah, I agree. I love the chaos element, and I love stories that also have like a chaotic character in it. So like Pirates of the Caribbean is kind of like case in point, like who knew what Jack Sparrow was going to do from one moment to the next, and that's what makes it so interesting.
So I guess if you, sorry, totally.
No, please don't. No, you don't. Go.
I guess you've just spoken about lots of things that you've had to like unpick and like figure out from the the battle to the world. Do you ever get writer's block with those kind of things? Like, and how do you work through that?
I have been pretty lucky. I don't think I've ever really had writer's block, or what I'd term writer's block. I always come back to the MA. It was really formative for me. Where
did you do your MA?
I did it at Bath Spa.
Oh, great!
And it was writing for young people specifically. So I learned.
You knew what you were going.
I knew what I wanted to do, and honed like my writing for teens and younger as well.
Great.
And one of the things one of our teachers, Steve Voke, who I think does freelance editorial teaching, if anyone wants to go and look for him. But one of the things he taught us was that writer's block doesn't really exist. And I know lots of writers are going to be like, what?
Controversial, love it.
But like, it's a useful thing to believe, even if writer's block does exist. But it's all about craft. Like, if you are stuck with something, if something just isn't working, then it's not about the scene that's not working. It's about what came before. So you have to go back, you have to unpick it, you have to find what has not worked or what you needed to do earlier in the story, and then you should be able to continue. So, and then the other things, and like sometimes you do just get stuck. You can also reframe what you see as writing, because writing doesn't necessarily have to be sitting and tapping out words. It definitely doesn't have to be sitting and staring at a blank page hoping that something happens. It can be creating a collage for a new setting. It can be going for a walk and like considering new problems. For me, weirdly, when I really need to figure something out, I go and wash my hair. So wash my hair, which takes a minute because I've got an afro. Yeah. Like, as I'm combing through my curls, it's the time, and doing something else with your hands. So those are my tips. Maybe more useful than writer's block doesn't exist, which might have people crying.
No, but it's like, I mean, it's just looking at it from a different angle, isn't it? And then also like the washing your hair thing feels like taking that pressure off.
100%.
Like, I really relate to that. Like the amount of times I've gone for like, not often, I can't afford a massage that regularly, but if I go for a massage, it'll suddenly be like, bing, 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 and it's because you're giving that space and that time to just like relax.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's a similar thing of just like, giving yourself a bit of leeway to see it from something else.
I think so. And also when I go and do other work, if I go and I stage manage for a few days, suddenly the creative juices will come back and they'll be like, oh, write this. Especially when I'm supposed to be doing something else. It's like, write this. Yeah.
Great. Oh yeah, that's really nice. That's really good.
Is there a genre of novel that you would like to explore in the future?
So I've got a new duology with Bloomsbury, and the first book, Cafe at the End of the World, is coming out on the 30th of July this year.
Oh, so soon!
I know.
That's exciting.
So soon. And I've got to write the sequel, but that's fine.
Do you ever write two things at the same time? Does your brain work like that?
I've tried. I can't really do it. I sort of have to do it in chunks. And it is so Cafe at the End of the World is a mashup. I really wanted to write a lovely cozy cafe romance. And then I also really wanted to write a reboot of The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And so I did them both.
Great. Great. Amazing.
And so the main character is Liddy, who's the daughter of Death, who's a retired rider of the Apocalypse. And she's obsessed with everything cozy and she loves her life, except there is a door to the afterlife in the basement of the cafe where she works. And then a very attractive, mysterious young man turns up, and things start going a bit wrong.
Wow. What a concept. That sounds great. And so you're about to start writing that, or you're currently writing that? No, that's coming out. Sorry.
That's coming out.
That's coming out in July.
That's finished.
Great.
And then
the sequel.
The sequel I have started and I am continuing.
Wow.
Will there be a third third story for Jenna, or no? You could just keeping that as just a two, and then that's it.
Yeah, I think Jenna and Blaze are done.
Fair.
But I would write more in that universe, and I did kind of pitch. I pitched some prequel-y type things.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, there's enough there, isn't there? Yeah, and it's a huge world.
A whole universe. Yeah. There's a character called the Diviner who kind of sees the future, and I really wanted to write about her. But Cafe came first, so it'll kind of be. I'm very lucky to have a really nice editor at Bloomsbury, Katie, and we work really closely together. And it's great that they wanted another duology. So I'll sort of see what they want next, and maybe I'll sneak back into Nine Trees.
Yeah.
But,
do it when it feels right. Yeah,
that's
if it doesn't feel like it's organically happening, there's no point forcing it, because you'll feel that in the writing, and as much as you might then get into the flow of it, I think you have to follow your gut on these things, right? That's amazing. And one thing I wanted to ask you about, because I saw that you're not currently, but you're going to start like revisiting a project that you started 10 years ago. How does it feel to be considering or revisiting something that, like, because your life experience is so much more and your experience as a writer is so much more, like, what makes you go, I want to go and revisit something? Like, what is that that's interesting to you?
So the project I did 10 years ago was my first young adult novel, which I self-published. So I decided I wanted to write a book, giving away my age, but I wanted to write a book by my 30th birthday.
Right.
So I'd never finished one. I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to write a book. And I actually wrote it on the tube on my phone, like going to my job at the time, which was writing captions for Madame Two Swords.
No way!
Yeah.
Amazing.
Such a random job.
Incredible.
So sometimes it was writing captions and sometimes it was doing picture research where, like, if they're making a wax sculpture of someone and they don't have enough photos of them or they didn't have a sitting, they get people in and you do research. So I would maybe be spending an entire day looking at pictures of Justin Bieber's face from like
Different
various angles.
Wow.
Yeah, for the sculptor. Which actually meant I had the brain space to write, which is good.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I wrote Afterlife, and it was, and I think lots of debuts do this, it was extremely ambitious. It had every idea I'd ever had in it. It had 6 main characters, so many settings. And so there's just so much there. Like, so I will, at some point I'll go back, I hope, and maybe make it into a series, like the amount of ideas that are there. Like now I know how to structure things. Maybe it could be like a series of short books, like Animorph size. Yeah, would be nice. And I think that's it. I think it's just knowing how much I put into it and wanting to recapture that.
Like wanting to like really like execute it in like a more expanded way, in a more like, experienced way, I guess.
I think so. Yeah. Like, no, I properly know what I'm doing.
That's really nice though. I think it's so often I feel like we have our first ideas and then we just sort of have to leave them because we kind of see them as, it's just really nice to hear someone who's like, I'm going to revisit, like I'm going to do that again. And I think it's really exciting and really like brave, actually.
Lots of writers do it, especially authors, because you don't, like the chances of you getting an agent for your first book, the first book you write, are slim.
Yeah,
like, really slim.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what's the stat? I think it's something like some people, not everyone, but some people will get an agent on their 4th or 5th book, the 4th or 5th book that they write.
Really?
And then they'll try and sell their first book with their agent and fail. And then they might sell the next one. So that's like, maybe it's agent on your 4th book and you end up selling the 6th book or something. And actually that's sort of exactly what happened to me. Like I had various books, full manuscripts in the drawer, as we call it. Yeah.
So all the books before then, you've like self-published, or do you?
So I self-published 2. I wrote 1, decided I didn't want to self-publish it, but couldn't get an agent. I wrote another one, Muse Magic, 7 to 9, ages 7 to 9, which is what I got signed with, Christabel, but we couldn't sell it. And then I finished The Love Interest and we sold that. So wrote 4, sold the 5th.
So you did pretty good then. You did it quite quickly.
Yeah.
For the timeline, I know that's still, what's that, like, how many years was that? Like
10.
It was 10 years.
No, well, actually, no, it's 10 years to now. And I'm on book 3, so like traditionally published book 3. So it was 6 or 7 years from finishing my first book to getting an agent.
Well done. Yeah.
And was that sending the manuscript to 8 various agents as well? The classic of just sending them and saying,
that's what I did.
This is me.
Yeah. Well, that's what I did for Afterlife. And then the other one I tried to get an agent for. And so did, the slush pile, which is you send the first 5,000 words of your book, you send a synopsis, you send a cover letter, and you hope that they read it and respond. And then actually, while I was doing the MA, DHA, which is David Hyam's associate agency, did a sort of open access event where they invited underrepresented authors to submit and then come along to a series of workshops. And then they picked 10 to work with more closely. And I was one of the people that they picked. And I had a one-to-one with an agent, which I was excited about. But the whole time I'd been doing this series of workshops, there'd been an agent assistant, Christabel, sort of helping and running things and saying hi to us. And I was like, I really like Christabel. She's really nice. I really like her. I vibe. Like, yeah. And then I had a meeting with another agent who was like, I would be interested. Send me your final things and maybe we could go from there. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And then she left and she sent me an email. It was like, if you still want to submit to us, submit to Christabel and see where you go from there. And I was like, yes,
incredible.
Submitted to Christabel, and now we've been. She's been my agent for 3 years.
So it's kind of meant to be, because you kind of met in a more like level standing, and it's developed from there.
I think
so nice.
So. I mean, that's my hot tip for anyone who is trying to get an agent, is to have a look for these open access events that agencies do.
Yeah.
Even some publishing houses do some that agents will come along to, because if you can meet, like the slush pile is just soul destroying.
Oh
like
God.
If there's a way to circumvent that, like do
Understood. Yeah, fair. I guess talking about the slush pile is making me think about, you had a blog called Life as a Lost Girl. So I wanted to talk about that, but I also wanted to, like, those years where you were sort of self-publishing and all of those things, like what, I mean, obviously a love of writing, but like what else like kept you going, and what helps you feel like less lost in general?
Oh, that's a really nice question. I think, and this is such a privileged answer, which I will acknowledge, but
it's okay.
like travel, like,
yeah,
and
okay.
being able to take a little bit of time off always made me feel less lost, because I don't know if other people who work in the theatre might feel this, that you start working in the industry, you work every weekend, you work every evening, it sort of takes over your life, you're on this amazing roller coaster journey, but that is who you become. And so being able to take a minute away from that and away from all the plates that you're spinning, helps you reconnect with yourself. Like even camping in Cornwall or something.
So like breathing space again, like that breath to like feel yourself grounding rather than that's nice. And have you got a favourite place that you like to go to like ground yourself?
Well, not really. Like going new places is sort of the sparky. That gets my brain going, I think. If I could, you were talking earlier about magical powers to go anywhere. I was like, oh my God, ask me the magic door question. Like if you had a magic door and you could open it and just end up anywhere, where would you go?
Yeah, where would you go?
Oh.
Well, you've asked it now.
Ask yourself the question.
Probably New Zealand.
Oh, nice.
Have you ever been?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great.
Went travelling for a wee while.
So that's sort of a Lord of the Rings type quest for yourself.
Yeah. And like the South Island, you've got Abel Tasman National Park, which is like tropical. And then like 5-hour coach down the road, you've got glaciers and those hikes.
Incredible.
So probably like a daughter there would be
great.
Can I ask you the magic door question?
Ooh. You go first.
So I feel as though I may have already done it. It's called Port Angel, and I travelled there. It's in Australia on the Great Ocean Road. And when I was in Australia in 2006, I was with the Ashes, watching the Ashes, and we travelled from Sydney to Adelaide, and we drove along the Great Ocean Road to get there. And we stopped off at this place there's a sort of scenic place called the Pinnacles, which is on the coast, which is a sort of tourist bit. And then about 5 miles down the road, there's another place called Port Angel, and it's like this small, tiny fishing village, and it's hands down one of the most like incredible, beautiful places I've like ever been to. Sort of like palm trees, just natural palm trees. And it's Australia, so they've got some of the most random wildlife. Koalas in the trees. These whites, the locals, only a few locals sort of like live there. White pickets, sort of like fences. They've got like these 2 bars, one at each end of this sort of like this really long high street. residents numbering probably a few hundred, if that. And it's just a beautiful sort of like small port, which they do a bit of like lobster and crab, sort of like fresh lobster and crabs. It was like fresh shellfish fishing is their sort of main sort of like economy.
There's like a circumstance that I'd really like to do with travel, and then there's also just like seeing cultures totally different from the UK and like Europe. So like somewhere that I would love to go is like Japan, just because it's so different, and just kind of like see, it's beautiful as well in so many places. And New Zealand is one of them, actually. I'd love to go to New Zealand, but that still feels quite close, but also far in other ways. Like they've got so many different things to their like world and culture that's amazing. But I think for so long, it's interesting you were saying about like taking the time to breathe for like traveling. I think for a long time being a freelancer in theatre didn't allow myself to think about having time off, and didn't go on holidays because I was always scared the phone was going to ring and being available and all of those things. And it's only within like the last year kind of that year or two that me and my partner have actually been like, we need to actually live our lives and go on holiday and do those kind of things. So I think I would love to like really see different places, but also I'd really love to like have a month somewhere completely cut off, like really beautiful, like whether that's like in a mountain range, whether that's just like in a tiny little hut somewhere that we just like turn our phones off, say we're not available, and like exactly that thing of like looking at the stars and just like breathing. I think those are the two things that for travel for me are like kind of would be amazing. But again, a month off is like such a like, is that ever possible? But yeah, so like I think there's so many places that I haven't thought about traveling because, well, cost is a massive thing. But yeah, I think there's lots of places that I haven't even registered as being somewhere I'd want to go. But yeah, I guess that's what's exciting is I'd like to. My cousins just moved to Vietnam.
Oh my God, go to Vietnam.
Yeah, so we're going to go to, they're there for 3 years, so we have like a solid like timeline.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to Vietnam and then hopefully hop around some other countries while we're there as well. But yeah, so that's kind of the next thing. And my partner's best friend's about to move to Canada, so we've also got like, I like places where I can go and stay with people because it feels like a nice safety net. It's not as scary. I get quite scared about being like out in the wilderness and just like no safety net. So yeah, those are like things that we're definitely going to go and do, which is great.
Amazing. Can I unsolicited travel advice?
Yes,
it's like
please.
My favourite thing to do.
Please, yes. Please, shower.
There is, you might already know about it, there's a website called Workaway.
No, I don't.
Which
right, still
has projects. So some things are like you can go and stay in a surf hostel and work at their front desk, and you'll get free room and board and a surf lesson or something.
Oh, great.
But like they have loads of different types of projects. So I did a couple of workaways while I was traveling and went to like Sri Lanka and stayed on a coconut plantation and rewrote their website for them. And
amazing.
Just got to be in like rural Sri Lanka.
Oh my
and
gosh,
oh my God, that sounds great.
So yeah, have a look at Workaway.
Thank you.
There are some amazing projects.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Makes things much cheaper. And then you get to meet local people and do interesting things.
That's amazing. Tk you so much.
My pleasure.
That was such a tangent, but I really enjoyed it. So I guess now it's time.
So we've made that about us for a little while, and now we're going to make it about you. So the point of this whole podcast, really, as we come to the apex, is that we're now going to ask you about your absolute scene. The scene from a play, from a film, from a TV show, or even from a book, or it could even be your favourite song, maybe. And it's basically what we're asking for, or at least delving into and exploring, is something that pulls you in out of maybe a writer's sort of like quagmire, or maybe it's something that's inspired you, something that has lifted you up into this crazy, crazy industry in the first place and got you into this mess. So, Helen Comerford, what is your absolute scene?
Okay, so my absolute scene it's something quite new, and now it's something that I go to when I need a little pick-me-up. And it is, so it's from the film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which I will argue is a modern classic.
Yeah, agreed.
It's so good. And it is the What's Up Danger montage, which is the moment that Miles Morales becomes Spider-Man. Like he kind of accepts his destiny. And he is on the side of a skyscraper, and he takes the leap of faith, which, he's in his new Spider-Man outfit. He takes the leap of faith, and there's that iconic falling upwards moment, which I think is like, they use it for the front cover sometimes of the film, which is him falling up with New York above him. And it's in slow motion, and there's like shattered glass, and the music's incredible, and all the strands of the story come together, and he sort of, it's the coming of age moment, which is peak young adult. That's what all young adult literature is about. It's all about coming of age and discovering who you are. And that's the moment it happens for him, and it's so empowering. And so he falls, and at the last minute his web catches, and he swings through the streets of New York, and you just want to be like, yes, Miles Morales. So it's an uplifting, empowering, that's my absolute scene.
Oh, such a good one.
Love it. Funny enough, we were just talking about this. So before you came up, we were talking about Miles Morales, because I've been playing the Miles Morales Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
Which is great and brilliant. So, and I'm a big Spider-Man fan. So I hear you. I'm going to do a little deep dive into that scene, or maybe even into that film, if that helps.
Yeah, sure.
So, is it the character of Spider-Man, or even of Miles Morales, that you're sort of first drawn to that scene? Do you think that piques your interest into that, or is it something else?
So that scene specifically, it is the coming of age. So it is Miles Morales. And Spider-Man is great for this, because Spider-Man is always, generally, it's it's a teenage boy who is nerdy, and he's struggling, and he finds himself, and he finds his power, and that's always really satisfying. And then within like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the whole theme of the film is that anyone could be Spider-Man, which I love, which is super empowering. It's Miles Morales. He is a mixed race, nerdy teen, awkward teen. It's just great.
So it's kind of that feeling of like anyone could be this as well. And that, like, is that peak feeling, that peak energy of like that moment, is that like what draws you to it? Like that feeling of...
I think so, yeah. It is, apart from being like, it's the ultimate empowering moment of the film. It's an empowering film.
Yeah.
And then that is like the peak of it, I think.
I think he's such a character that I think about a lot, because of the journey that he has narratively, and the way that they've written him, that Marvel have written him, but also the journey that he's had in the zeitgeist of the fandom as well, which I find really interesting.
Because he's a kid,
Because how old is Miles Morales?
He's like 15, 16.
Yeah, he's sort of 15, 16. At his Genesis.
Yeah, okay, wow.
He's like, and he makes mistakes. He makes some quite big ones as well.
I still need to watch it.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like both of them, both of those movies, those two movies.
It's come up a lot on the podcast. A lot of people brought it up. Yeah. And I think Joe brought it up, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. We had an animator on.
Yeah, and it was amazing. So I guess, have you, that moment, that being the thing that you keep coming back to, like, and inspires you, and like, do you feel like that has influenced your work? Or do you feel like it's so... I mean, it's not that recent now, but it's... When did it come out? It was...
The first movie came out 2006.
18?
Sorry, you're right. Sorry, 2018.
Yeah.
And then the second one came out... Ptarmigan was born, so 2023.
Oh, that's one I'm more aware of.
The second movie came out 2023.
Do you feel like it's influenced your work? Do you feel like you've had a moment like that in your work? Like, is that...
I think that I try and put a moment like that in every book.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jenna definitely has it, because her story is complete. And Liddy, the main character of the new duology, she's going to have to... She gets something like that, but...
Keep that under wraps.
Keep that under
It's
wraps.
a secret.
I'm not saying I'm in a Breaking Bad, but Liddy goes, she's very cozy at the beginning. She's much less cozy by the end. So we're gonna have to pull it full circle by the time she gets her empowering moment. Yeah, so it isn't.
Feels like one of the tropes of those stories.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it feels like you've been doing those kind of moments. So what is it about the Spider-Man one that stands out compared to like all the other stories you've read where they have those moments, I guess, or that you've written?
I think it's the animation and the music.
Great.
I think it's the track,
Yeah.
especially
Makes
that
such a difference.
That makes the difference. But you're right. Like most superhero stories will have a moment like that. Lots of stories have a moment like that. The sort of I'm realizing who I am moment.
Yeah.
That is probably the most powerful one I've seen.
Love that. That's great.
I think that's a great place to end. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
However, I do have one more question.
Go ahead.
And you kind of already brought a question to the table, but I'm going to ask you anyway. But is there a question that you wish people would ask you?
I feel a bit guilty saying this one, but basically every time I do an interview or a panel or a workshop, I have a lovely time talking about craft and talking about everything, and I just really enjoy myself. And I sort of forget that part of being an author is that you have to push your books. So
great, please tell us about your
But yeah. So I think it's one of those like, tell us who should buy your book, Helen.
Okay, great. So all go and buy Helen's book, please. And in July?
July 30th. Young adult cozy rom-com with supernatural elements called Cafe at the End of the World.
And where can we find it?
You can find it wherever you buy your books. It will be
Great.
Kindle, Waterstones, indie bookshops.
Amazing.
Bookshop.org, the big company that begins with A.
Okay.
I'm not going to mention.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Great. Great. Amazing.
And a sort of follow on from this actually. Will you be doing any tours, signings, that sort of stuff as part of this?
I will be. I know. So I am at Bournemouth Writing Festival talking about plots on the 23rd of April, which will be fun. And then I'm not 100% sure what the release events are going to be. There'll be a book launch in Cardiff. I'm going to try and make sure it's in Wales, which feels important.
Yeah.
In July. And then I will probably be scooting around some schools and chatting to teenagers.
And I'm guessing that will kind of all go out on like socials and things.
Yeah.
And,
So if you really want to listen to my voice more, you can.
I mean, it's been lovely, so I'm sure people will.
I'm on Instagram. I'm at Helen_J Comerford. If you want to find me.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming. This has been fascinating.
It's been so good.
I really appreciate it.
This is such a great show. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it's goodbye from me.
Yep. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Thank you for having me.
No worries. Bye.
Great show. Stand by. Like you six. Well done, everybody.